and welcome to the BioFit With Us podcast, episode 79. Yay. We
Season
did it.
2, episode
Season 2.
13.
Thanks, Gary.
I only know that because I looked it up this morning. Anyway, what's happening, team? Since Shannon never asked, even though she was supposed to, since she was introing.
I was waiting for
Oh,
it.
well, you took over, so I just assumed you were doing the rest of it there.
My apologies. My apologies. Shall we start again? No.
How is everyone?
Cold. It's fucking cold, and I got into trouble yesterday because I got caught with the fire on when Jen wasn't here. So apparently, I'm in bad books.
The betrayal.
I don't know. Imagine keeping yourself warm whilst you're working from home. But she told me that I need to insulate myself better by wearing a jacket and a blanket whilst I'm working. So,
Why the what? So
Welcome.
you'd be as well just living in a tent at this point.
mate, I'm not even going to lie. Like, we still have single glazing windows upstairs. Like, it's a cold house, man. Like, you can see your breath at times. And she's like, "Yeah, put a jacket on." Like, no, it's just
Right, so now you need to get yourself an outdoor jacket and an indoor jacket as well.
you're looking sharp.
I'm with Jen because I lived in that kind of environment last year where the snuggie never came off me in the house. So I know where she's coming from.
Yeah,
Price of
so
living these days.
I know where Kyle's coming from because we actually live with central heating over in Glasgow,
Yeah.
and it
Oh,
keeps the house nice and warm. You know, it keeps us nice and toasty. That's what it's for. Having said that, though, I went to the shops this morning, to get the essentials. You know, milk and bread and eggs and all that stuff. And I walked out of Asda, and the cold stung my face, and I thought to myself, how the fuck did I survive in Canada?
Mm.
I am freezing this morning. How the fuck was my skin conditioned to the Canadian winter?
I've heard that you do acclimatise, though, don't you? Like, you get used to like minus like 20 degrees and all that, like madness.
Aye, 100%. I was actually wearing shorts in the winter in Canada when I was working because we worked in the Amazon warehouse and it was a lot of, I was like in the shipping department, so I was like running a lot and I wanted to be comfortable. And one guy actually said to me, if that's what you wear in the winter, I would hate to see what you wear in the summer.
Mate, I was in Brisbane, and the opposite happened. Like, Brisbane was 40 degrees for the first like 3 months that I lived over there, and then I went a trip to Sydney, and the weather jumped down to like 19, 20 degrees. Mate, I was genuinely shivering when I was in Sydney. Mate, I was like, I can't believe a boy from Scotland shivering in 20 degrees in Sydney, but I actually was. My mates were like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I'm just so used to like it being warmer, like, because they hadn't been to Brisbane." I'm like, "It's fucking freezing here."
Mate, 100%. We were wearing hoodies at 20 degrees in Australia. Hoodies.
Cookies,
But
yeah.
like back in Scotland, back in Glasgow, 12 degrees. You've got the fucking paddling pool at the back. The barbecues are on. The taps are off.
The difference is, mate, you're steaming. Tenants extra.
Shannon, how are you? Nobody's asked.
I'm okay. I'm a little sore from my cysts and I'm a little sick, but we're going to troop her on. We'll survive and thrive.
Yeah, the people need you, remember.
That's it. I'm a local celeb now. I'm a local celeb.
I know what has been going on with that.
I don't know. Like, there's clearly nothing happening in Dundalk that they need to keep reporting about my birthday
I'm
party.
not.
It was obviously the best birthday
Not.
party ever.
I'm not starting this podcast with Shannon living off the fact that she's been in the newspaper twice because her 30th birthday.
Three
So,
times.
but I'm not. We're moving on, right? So,
How I don't even know how that comes about. Does not many people turn 30 in Dundalk?
Clearly not. Kyle, you're going to have to take a back seat right now because I'm going to talk about how important my party was. uh, the local newspaper guys came. They took like an interview of everyone. They took a heap of pictures, and then it just seems to be everywhere. Like people have been sending me screenshots of like their Google like search, your search engine on your phone, and it's like pictures of me just on the search engine. And I'm like, oh, there I am.
Have you ever Googled your own name?
I'm a DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are actually quite a good DJ as well. Me and Adam do listen to DJ Kyle Watson sometimes.
Well, Shannon, you now have a legit thing to pop up when you search your name.
Yeah, because what used to pop up was literally my mum's RIP notice. So I'd like that to be replaced.
I'm just going to Google mine right now. Am I best putting Gary McDonald Glasgow?
Just put Gary McDonald, mate. See,
Gary McDonald. Oh my God. So I've put in Gary McDonald and it's shown me an Australian actor that has the first name and second name spelt differently to mine.
that's
Two
not.
R's and a Mick.
That's.
I would like to see Gary McDonald. A fat footballer.
Nice.
A lottery winner. I wish I was that guy. Nothing exciting. Nothing exciting at all. That was anticlimactic.
Since we've now established that you're not a fat footballer or a millionaire, and Shannon's living off the fact that she's been in the Argus twice, we'll look at maybe jumping into the topic of how to get in shape over the winter.
Yes, this calls for.
Oh, Jesus, it's a bad day when we can't.
That looked like a
Shannon,
struggle.
Yeah, that was quite difficult. But anyway, it's open. Did you hear
no,
No, I didn't hear it.
it?
it made such a song and dance about the can itself, and then couldn't open it. That's
Did you know want to talk about the topic here, Kyle?
yeah, mate. Sorry, we'll jump into it.
Yeah.
Right, so I think what's really important this time of year, we're coming into the last week of October, Halloween's coming up, there's Christmas trees starting to pop up in people's windows, but it's also a time of year where people either kind of pack in their health and fitness goals or double down on them. So it can be a great time of year to get in shape, but it can also be a particularly difficult time of year to get in shape. So we're just going to talk about our experiences of how to help people get in shape. Does that all sound good to everybody?
Let's do
Yep.
it. Everybody else has just went, yep, listening to the podcast.
Cool. Good head nod. That's already some non-activity thermogenesis. But I actually listened to a wee podcast this morning when I was taking Rocky a walk just on what other people's views are. So the guy started off really strong and he's like, right, when you try to get in shape in winter, like, let's face it, it's predominantly about nutrition. I'm like, fuck, yeah, that guy's 100% right. It is about nutrition. People overlook that 100%, or 80% nutrition. I'm like, you can control that. Started off really well, but then within about 3 minutes started talking about how you can do training that ups your metabolic rate for the day. And I was like, all right, this is the direction we're going in.
Yeah, he's the type of guy that wakes up and drinks fucking olive oil and raw eggs.
The Rocky dance. I was thinking about doing an Instagram reel on that at some point, just actually like copying the Rocky montage and like doing 6 raw eggs, like rancid.
Oh man, I could not. Oh no, I couldn't do it. But yeah, what sort of stuff was he giving you?
Oh man, it was just nonsense. It was like he started off with, yeah, it's about nutrition, as I said. Great shout. It is about nutrition for MD Listen. But then he started talking about how you can hack your biosystem so that you can up your metabolic rate for the day. So if you do just a 7-minute workout in the morning, it primes you for fat loss. And then he's like talking about doing throughout your day, you should do cluster sets of things every hour for like 8 minutes. I'm like, mate,
What job do you have for a living?
You could just tell. I didn't even look at his video until he started saying things like that, and I then brought it up, and he looks exactly how you think he'd look. He sounds exactly how you think he'd sound. American.
Aye, of course. There goes all
The
our
most
American
hated
listeners.
people.
In saying that, I'll not take a side note here, but Joe Wicks is not American. He's a cunt too. So like,
But he does live in America, so there you go.
Must be something when you go over there.
Notions. That's what happens. Notions.
So, if we wind things back in and trying to get back to more reality, I will ask ladies first, Shannon. In your experience, if you could give one tip as to how to get in shape over this period of time, what would you do?
Get a coach. And this isn't a plug, but a coach is going to help you through the really hard times, which is now because seasonal depression's a real thing and motivation's going to be super low at the moment. It's cold, it's dark, and it's miserable. So having someone in your corner and making sure actually helping you achieve your goals is going to be so beneficial that when it comes to the new year, you are generally going to feel like a new person by then. But not just get any coach. Obviously, biofitness is the greatest group ever. But if your coach isn't looking into the actual challenges of your life and the kind of whys behind your struggles, then they aren't a very good coach, in my opinion. So you need to do a wee bit of background checking on them.
Started off as not a plug and then ended up very much a plug.
Yeah, join if
Um,
you're not in biofitness.
okay, if we dive deeper into that point, so just so we can expand on it, what type of things would you be looking for to establish what a good coach is?
Good coach. First of all, obviously getting results because that's the main reason why you are going to a coach in the first place. You obviously have a goal that you want, but your goal needs to be aligned with the coach. It's kind of like a therapist. You need to figure out which one suits you best. So for me, when I first went looking for a coach, i.e. Kyle Watson was a big power lifter back in the day, and I was like, hey, that's something I want to do.
What,
And
what do you mean
what?
back in the day? What do you mean back in the day? Is this because I didn't win my last competition? Is that what you're saying, Shannon?
Well, you didn't win and I didn't win, so that says a lot about us.
It could be that, or it could also be the fact that you're just got the old dad bod happening now.
Fucking, hold on, I've now heard from.
Me or him?
On one hand, Shannon's offended me, but then Gary's now offended me as well. I've went into this podcast not thinking I had a dad bod, and now I've got a dad bod. No worries,
Oh,
troops.
you have the dad bod.
Right, Shannon, continue your point.
Continue. Everyone loves the dad bod. It's all right.
We're gonna rebrand the Biofit with us Dad Bod podcast.
The dad bod pod.
The Dad Bod. The Dad Podcast.
But yes. So my goal was to get back into some sort of powerlifting because I had dabbled in it a wee bit before, but I didn't have the confidence to do it. So obviously did my background checking on different coaches because at the time there was 101 different ones in Dundalk and yeah, seeing what Kyle did, enjoyed his videos, and I was like, I could get on with this person. And then obviously we had a call. We actually talked in depth about goals, not just surface level, being like one, lose weight and get stronger. Like there was a lot more in the background, broke it down, and I was like, yeah, no, 100%. This works with my lifestyle. And that's what makes a good coach. Not
So,
someone just saying, here is a plan, see you later, alligator. Don't forget to eat your chicken, broccoli, rice, and soy sauce because it's fucking brilliant.
so proof that someone can say or does what they said they can do in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Communication, so that they understand you, and relatedness are the things that you would say would be the things you would look at.
Yes.
I think, in my
Side
opinion,
note,
just
I did win my first ever powerlifting competition.
Shannon, we spent the first 10 minutes of this podcast talking about you and your famousness in the newspapers. This isn't about you and how much credentials you have.
I'm the main character. This is my world. We're living in it.
I think just expanding on what you guys said there as well, I think relatability plays a massive part in finding the right coach for you as well. If you're a busy mum of two, and you are trying to get a coach to help you through a very busy period that's coming up, and you turn to a female who's single who works out 6, 7 days a week, expecting to get the same results as maybe what she's got, then you're probably going to be left very disappointed.
Yeah.
You have to get a coach that understands your situation. Again, it communicates well with you as well, and takes on board the troubles and stresses that you're going to experience. Using myself, sorry, as an example here, I have completely changed my opinion on certain things since becoming a dad. I was always of the opinion that time is taken, not given. Now, whilst that is true, you don't always have time to take because of certain things that happens, especially with a fucking sleep regressing teething baby and a dog with a just an ever-growing injury list. I have had to adapt what I've had to do on a day-to-day. So it's important to have a coach that understands that as well, but that also still holds you to a higher to a high account as well, because you can't just have a coach that just goes, oh, it's fine, we'll start again tomorrow. Okay, it's fine, we'll start again tomorrow. You have to work together to figure out how to get you to where you want to be.
Yeah, 100%. I think actually on the extreme end of that, it boils my blood when I see like someone going to like a bodybuilding coach who has no aspirations of being a bodybuilder, and then they wonder why the relationship they have with food isn't
Yeah.
great after it. And I'm going, well, there's no surprise, and this isn't a slight on bodybuilders genuinely this time. Like, they obviously are trying to make a living too, but at the same time, like, don't be surprised if you go to somebody who all they do is eat out of Tupperware dishes that you're going to start eating out of Tupperware dishes. Like, if they're training back, buys, chest, tries, leg day, like, you're probably going to be doing that as well and be expected to train 5 or 6 times. And if you don't do it, it's probably not a case of there's going to be a relatedness in terms of like the kids put you off. It's like, well, you just didn't want it enough. That's where there's going to be issues with those type of oversights. I think I've said it on a podcast before, but I remember there's a guy I had a conversation with who never ended up signing up, but I ended up seeing him years later in the gym going to a guy who was just to the gills, and he was this guy was about the guy who had got in contact was about 160 something kilos, swinging a 20 kilo kettlebell over his head. I'm going, and then doing burpees. I'm going, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
Needless to say, he's not been seen since. Like, I don't know if he's dead. Don't think he's dead, but I just haven't seen him in the gym since I've seen that episode. I'm going, it's not what he needed at all.
Yeah, 100%. I've seen morbidly obese women doing calf raises because they've been with, a bodybuilder type PT.
Yeah.
Calf raises is not what you need when you're already dangerously big and unhealthy. But the whole reason behind the calf raises was to cause a little bit of discomfort in the muscle to feel like she'd worked, which is
Mhm.
essentially straight up theft, in my opinion.
The dark arts. There's a whole podcast that could go into the dark arts and what actually feels good versus
Hmm.
what works. I had this conversation with somebody the other day about who wanted to go to an in-person PT, and again, no issues on that. It's a different conversation for a different day. But I was like, if you actually look at the sessions, I'm going, and I know it feels good to go in and chat to somebody and feel like you're only doing 3 or 4 exercises and you chat in between and then you go and it feels like you don't need to worry about anything else for the rest of the week. But is that really going to get you to where you want to be? And to be fair, they end up just kind of admitting they just wanted to make more than they actually wanted to get results, and that's fine. I'm like, but I think you just need to look at what it is you're looking to achieve. Is the person that you're going to got proof that they're going to be able to help you achieve that? Is it somebody that you can actually get on with? Is it somebody you'd be happy enough to have a conversation with in terms of if you don't like things or you do, whatever, do they see your point of view or all the things? Unless there's anything I've missed there, guys, you happy enough for that? We'd summarise that.
Hmm.
Right? Cool.
Good.
Yep.
Gary, you're up. What would you do if you were to one tip to get in shape for?
Well, just leading off the back of that guy's podcast that you listened to this morning, I would go to sleep with pickled beetroot in my socks because I'm joking, by the way. I'm going fucking
Is that
uh,
not what you do? That for weeks.
pickled beetroot on the soles of your feet. Put your socks on, go to sleep. You wake up like a new person. Your skin absorbs the whole beetroot, so you don't actually need to take it out your sock.
I thought it was because it detoxed your liver. Like
I
the
don't know.
the organ that helps detox, that detox is the detoxer.
I don't fucking know. One tip. I mean, Shannon kind of she won this round with hiring a coach because let's be honest, if you've tried to do it in the past over many, many years and you've never succeeded, then what's going to make this year different? I think the thing that most people tend to struggle with, I know this is something that we'll cover a wee bit later in the podcast, but it's just the time of year. People have already written the rest of the year off and they're thinking I'll just start again in January. So trying to find that motivation to get up and actually go to the gym, especially with the cold and dark mornings and feeling your skin fucking stinging when you go to the shops in the morning. It's difficult to actually get the motivation to do that. What I would suggest if you're wanting to stay or you want to get in some sort of shape is try not do everything all at once. Now, Kyle said nutrition is 80% of getting in shape, which it absolutely is do. So if you're finding that Right now, you don't have the motivation to get up and go in the morning to the gym or even in the evenings when it's super busy. Focus on your nutrition, right? Focus on your nutrition and just try and get as much movement in throughout the day as you can. If you're eating in a calorie deficit, regardless of whether you're exercising or not, you're still going to lose a bit of body fat. Now, I know getting in shape for everybody is very subjective. It changes person to person. But usually, when people say get in shape, they typically mean lose a bit of body fat. So if you're wanting to lose a wee bit of body fat over the winter months, during the winter arc, which is a fucking ick of mine, people calling it the winter arc, um, focus on your nutrition because yes, nutrition is 80% of you, quote unquote, getting in shape.
Gary, you said there about like it's cold, dark, and motivation's not going to be overly
Hmm.
high. Do you think it's any warmer in January?
No, absolutely not. But the change in people's or the perception that people have is it's going to be colder in January. Like December, January, February are the coldest months, but because it's a new year, people hit out with a new year, new me, fresh start. They've already written the rest of the year off. So you're absolutely right in what you say. It's going to be fucking colder in January. So why are you waiting to the coldest months to start and using the cold as an excuse now?
I couldn't agree anymore. It actually frustrates me. I have had conversations with a few people recently who are like they've actively just asked or said, "Oh, I might just leave it till January," and I'm like, right, but are you looking at the social events that you have? Like, what would happen genuinely? Like, if you for the next, because you look at January, January's still essentially 2.5 months away. If you're talking about not the 1st of January, but when most people get started, halfway through 15th of January, whatever, you're talking 2, 3 months. So, like, what would happen on the opposite side of things if you gave up booze and you gave up your nights out and you gave up everything? Imagine how good you feel now. I'm not saying to do that because nobody's realistically going to do that, but just imagine for a second how good you'd feel. But then we kind of we acknowledge that, but you need to acknowledge how bad are you going to feel if you give up health, fitness, any sort of nutrition. A lot of people just throw a towel in, and a lot of people don't realise that they think they're just going to stay the same, but actually what happens is they get worse, and it's a slow, gradual get worse. But if you look at where you are right now, end of October, listen to this podcast. If you can visually see this class, if you can't, no worries. But right now you're here, you're going to slowly start going down to this level here. And by the time that January comes, you're down here when you started up here. Now, imagine you actually started doing something right now, you actually gradually start going up and up and up and up and up, and come January here. But the gap between these two is massive at this point. And you're trying to bridge that gap in January when, let's face it, the gyms are going to be absolutely stout. Like, it's not nice to go to the gyms. Realistically, it comes down to nutrition anyway, but people love to think that going to the gym in January is a great idea as well, and that's a conversation for another day. But like, gyms are going to be super busy. You have little to no money. So when it comes to actually food choices, like, probably still not going to be the best. You are 5 to 10 kilos heavier than what you were now. So like at that point, you're going to actually get that 5 to 10 kilos off. It's probably going to take 3, 4 months anyway. So to get back to where you were in October, it's going to take you to March. Like, and then that cycle repeats itself. And it's no wonder you've been in that cycle. If you're listening to this and have been in a cycle where you've wanted this for the last 3, 4, 5 years, I'm going to be honest, if you don't do something about it, it's no longer a problem for you. It's something that you're tolerating. And that's quite sad.
You're
That's
allowing yourself to be the victim.
quite a mic drop moment there, Kyle. That was solid.
No, I mean, it does. I'm passionate about it. It does my head in. So when people tell me you want change, but then their inability to get out of their own way. I think one of the strengths that most people who are successful have is it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be, you need to be in. So what would happen if you actually gave this and go and get out your own way? It doesn't need to be giving all your nights out. Like, it doesn't need to be getting rid of all your nights out, and it doesn't need to be going to the gym 5 days a week. Why don't we balance both of them and actually see what you can do? Why don't you do something different for a change instead of waiting until January and hoping motivation's going to kick in? Because
Yeah.
we've all got the data. Like, people who start in January, if anything, like, they're actually the people who tend to get least results. I'm not saying there's nobody that doesn't get results in January, but if you look at our calendar year round and look at the names that are on it, the people who tend to get the results long term aren't the people who start in January. Very rarely are the people who start in January.
Aye, 100%. It's as I saying, it's all the kind of new year, new me. They get to January, they have massive blowouts over Christmas because they enjoy their December, shall I say? Because they think, well, I may as well get it all out my system now, start in January. They've ended up making that gap really big from where they could be to where they actually are. And then what they do in January is they go fucking balls to the wall, like
Yep.
full pelt, 1,200 calorie diet, training 5 days a week, Stairmaster for an hour a day, and then by the middle of January, not even fucking February, by the middle of January, they are exhausted, they are deprived of any nutrients. They feel like shit. It's cold outside, so that adds to it as well. And then they throw in the towel because they don't know how to balance it. They don't know how to find that balance of what they're already doing and the fact that you don't need to train 5, 6, 7 days a week and you don't need to hit 12 to 14, 15,000 steps a day. And yeah, you're right. In a sense that they are standing in their own way, but it's ignorance as well. It is complete ignorance because people don't want, in my experience, people don't really want to learn how to get healthier or how to get fitter or how to live life a wee bit more freely. It, people only take snippets from what other people tell them to fit their own agenda of what they believe is going to help them, which hasn't helped them in the last 10, 12, 15 years. So why the fuck is that going to change this year?
I don't understand why people think that doing the same thing that they tried to do before is going to help them now, especially when it tends to be life gets harder as you get older. Like, there's more responsibility. Like, right now, if you're listening to this is the youngest you're ever going to be. Like, genuinely the youngest you're ever.
Science guy.
You what, Shannon?
Science guy.
No, it's 100% going to be like, if you didn't know Shannon's age, she's in the papers several times apparently what age she is. Sorry, Shannon, did you feel left out that I hadn't mentioned you being in the paper for 5 minutes? But
You got a wee plug in the paper, so I don't know what's wrong with you. Like fucking biofitness being blasted around the news these
well,
days.
do you know what, Shannon? It's inaccurate in what was said. Apparently, there's about 4 people who work for biofitness that I don't fucking know about. Like, I think one of them I've never even met. Like, no problem. But I think if we look at it, like, you are right now the youngest you're ever going to be. You are probably the fittest that you. Well, actually, I'll take that back. You're the youngest you're ever going to be, and with that, you've got experience of what you've done in the past and why it's not worked. And like, sorry, maybe not why it's not worked, but it's not worked. So why are you going to try that again and hope that motivation like kicks in? Like, I can't get my head around that cycle or circle that people put themselves in.
It's ignorance again. That's that word that I mentioned. It's pure ignorance because people don't want to learn. People don't. Everybody wants the easy option. I hold my hands up. See if there was an easier option, I would fucking go for it as well. But the thing is, with health and fitness, whilst it's easy on paper, actually applying that to your life is where it gets challenging. I was going to say difficult there, but it's where it gets challenging. And if you're not willing to sacrifice some things for your long-term health, for your longevity, for extending your lifespan, for living life with less pain, more energy, feeling better, feeling happier, then you're fucked, essentially. You're absolutely fucked. You're going to be stuck in this cycle for the rest of your life because you're not willing to sacrifice what isn't working for you already.
Controversial word there, Gary. Sacrifice. We weren't allowed to say that for a couple of years because apparently it was like it was
A negative
taboo.
word.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this. In a year where you've got AI and Manjaro, it's been a very weird year for fitness, and I think it's confused people more than ever. I am going to say there's nothing in life that is worthwhile without sacrifice. You can't cheat your way to this. You can't follow an AI program and get the results that you want. You can't inject yourself with Manjaro and realistically there is a cost to all of that, and we've done podcasts on that before. There is an element of sacrifice. You say you want change, but you don't change any of your behaviours. As I said, if you're not going to change any of that and you keep on looking for shiny objects, you're tolerating it.
Yeah. This is going back to what I was saying as well about people not wanting to learn or not wanting to accept what they're learning because they want short form content on Instagram that is telling them what they want to hear, which fits their own agenda for how they live their life. And if we're going against the grain and saying, actually, you have to do X, Y, and Z, in this day and age, everybody knows calories are king and queen when it comes to fat loss. Everybody knows that you have to eat X, Y, and Z protein. I'm going to say everybody, most people, if you're in the fitness world on Instagram, because it's all everybody's talking about. People that don't like to eat meat, for example, they'll not accept it. They need to eat X amount of protein if they want to get in shape, if they want to maintain muscle mass, if they want to build muscle, because it doesn't fit their agenda.
Sure.
Does,
V-Shred made a living out of things that made it sound like more complicated than it is, but
aye, he's went down the whole body type route, something that has been completely disproven in the fucking 50s. Since the 50s.
I can see you starting to get veins in places that you don't get them, so we'll not go down the V-Shed route. But like, I think there's it's like the sit down game. It's like, you tell me you can't lose weight. Do you count your calories? No, sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sit down. Yeah. Genuinely go round anybody. It's a really quick conversation to have. Like, anytime someone says, right, I've been struggling to get in shape. Cool. What does your day of eating look like? Okay, cool. Do you know how many calories you're having? No. Sit down. Like, you might not like it, but genuinely, until you get, if somebody can present, it's like when people tell me they've not got time, I'm like, okay, let's see your diary. You're not going to present the diary. Okay, sit down. Like, you've got time. See, until such times as you can prove to me that you don't have something, like, then you've not got a leg to stand on here. Like, calories, nutrition are the things that are going to get you in shape. I know it's not going to be easy, but you know what's not easy? Carrying 10 kilos more than what you should. Do you know what's not easy? Standing, looking at your Christmas party and your nights out, and like, I see people on Instagram, like, you can tell you're hiding behind people. You can tell that you're standing in a certain way so that you don't get seen. You're telling me that the cost to that is easier than actually just counting a few calories? Fuck off.
Yeah. We are gluttonous.
Caffeine has kicked in for both of yous. Jesus.
we
Shannon.
We human beings we're gluttonous creatures. Like, we would rather eat our feelings. We would rather eat to make us feel happy. We would rather eat when we feel sad, and we would rather do that instead of putting in the work. I say we would rather get fit and healthy and be happy, but when it really comes to it and you have to choose left or right, left being be gluttonous and eat your feelings and emotions, or right being fuck your feelings, which I don't obviously agree with sometimes, fuck your feelings and do what you have to do to get you to where you want to be. More times than not, we're going to take that left turn because it's the easier option. You know, you can sit on your couch, you can get Just Eat up on your phone, and you can get a 3,000 to 5,000 calorie meal delivered to you without you having to even get off the fucking couch. That is an easier option than getting your ass up, getting it ready, going outside, going to the gym, working out for 30 to 45 minutes. It doesn't always need to be an hour. And then coming home. But I can guarantee you 100% if you took the right option, whilst it was the harder option to choose in the moment, afterwards you would feel a fucking million times better than you would after tanning a whole Domino's pizza with sides and a Ben and Jerry's after it.
Sounds good, to be fair. But I think I've just been, as much as I've enjoyed this wee rant we've had, I think we probably should go back into solutions as to how to help.
Yes, instead of just calling everybody out.
I was going to say, everybody's been told to sit down. Nobody's a friend anymore. But now that you're all seated, we're about to
Welcome back to the podcast. We are discussing.
Yeah, back to it. Oh, shit.
Are you okay?
So, did you hear Bear there?
I heard something. I wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah, my hand accidentally banged the clothes horse that's next to my desk, and Bears just went off his nut. Anyway, sorry. Back to the topic.
I think one of the things to do is to set a short-term goal so that you know what you're aiming towards in the first place. So, again, let's go under the premise it's the end of October. You're listening to this. Probably likely that social events will start to kick in next couple of weeks, being honest. You'll start to get Christmas parties at the back end in November. December becomes a little bit busier. Now, office culture, you're going to start to see more sweets, more buns, more chocolates, everything else coming into the desks.
Is it
There's going
not candy? Is that not what you called it yesterday? Candy.
I still don't see the
Yeah,
issue.
American YouTube.
I see no issue with this, Shannon, but like with that said, we were on a team meeting yesterday and I called candy candy. That's what it is.
No. You called sweeties candy.
Yeah.
Right, whatever. So there's going to be more sweeties on the table.
Wee
But
sweet treats.
so with that, there is temptation is going to be higher. But if you don't have a solid outline goal, it's going to be very easy to give in to some of the things. I think few things to look at. So you can have a realistic target. I would probably say for most people, you could lose between 2 and 5 kilos between now and Christmas. I'd say you could do that fairly comfortably if the goal is fat loss. I would look at to do that. You're probably going to have to look at calorie banking at times. I think calorie banking, for anyone who doesn't know, well, firstly, you need to start tracking your calories. I think this is a good time as any to start tracking your calories if you want a hand with that. We have plenty of guides as to how to help you track your calories, but MyFitnessPal is that we recommend. But I would start tracking your calories. I would look at each day maybe being slightly different. If you have things at the weekend, which most people will start to have in terms of nights out and stuff, I would look at starting to manipulate your calories. So let's just take an even 2,000 calories for the talk of like simplicity for this analogy. So let's say your calorie deficit is 2,000 per day. Instead of having 2,000 per day, you're probably going to need more at the weekend, because this is where most people encounter issues where it's like, oh, I've had 2,000 each day and then it's a Saturday and then, you know what, I've got 3-4 glasses of wine and a dinner out. Like, you're going, well, that could be 2,000 calories by itself. So let's say you need 3,500 calories for the weekend. I would look at the 2,000 calories that you have each day and banking 10 to 15% of them. So what that possibly looks like is bank 300 calories a day, Monday to Friday. So you're going 1,700 Monday to Friday. That over the course of 5 days is 1,500 calories. You add that 1,500 calories from Monday to Friday you didn't use to a Saturday, you then have 3,500 calories that you can have on a Saturday.
Party time.
My maths was actually really good on that. That caffeine definitely has kicked in. I've done that like
I was just about to say science.
a cappella, but
no science. Party time, sorry, on a Saturday.
party time. The problem with most people is they don't know how to manipulate calories, and that's exactly how we would do it. Like, yes, after having 3,500 calories, are your scales going to go up? Yes, because you have a lot more carbohydrates, you have a lot more glycogen. Realistically, on a Saturday night, if you're out and using those 3,500 calories, you're probably not sleeping as well either. You're going to be inflamed. It's probably going to take you to Tuesday for that weight to drop down. The problem is most people, if they weigh themselves on Sunday after having that big night out and they feel terrible and they're going, oh, fuck, I've put on 3 kilos. It's like, well, what's the point? I'm now more inclined to then get my Dominoes and free sides and the Ben and Jerry's at the end of it. And you know what? Lo and behold, then by Tuesday, your weight doesn't come down because you've just absolutely frazzled things for yourself. Well done, Steve.
Fucking Steve.
Fucking Steve. So, yes, I would say outline a goal and bank calories. I had a 2-for-1 on that there. I'll just round table it. Is there anything that you guys would add to more tips to get in shape?
Movement. You're not going to want to do it in the winter time, but getting some daily movement is also very important for the weight loss side of it all. Your nutrition and your daily movement, key tools for fat loss.
But Shannon, it's cold, it's dark. How do you get movement in, mate?
Oh, how do you get movement in? I actually had a debate with someone on Instagram recently enough about it. So their argument was that it was raining and that's why they can't get their steps in. And I was like, all right, cool. So you've got a couple of options here. First of all, we live in Ireland, so it rains a lot. If you didn't know, it rains a good bit. So I don't take that excuse very well. Get yourself a raincoat, get yourself an umbrella, get outside. It's not the answer that you want, but there it is. Second option, if you really don't want to do that, go to a gym, use the treadmill. If you don't like socializing at a gym, get a walking pad, do it at home, watch Netflix when you're doing it. These are the hard answers that people don't want to hear about steps, but the reality is you're just making excuses for yourself in the regards of not being able to do it. You can, you're choosing not to. And let's just say the person did take that off, fully on board and goes, I can't believe I got called out by you. And I was like, you are being called out.
I
Just remember, sorry, on you go, Kyle.
oh, go on.
I was just going to say, just remember if you do go with the walking pad option, remember to wear your indoor jacket as well.
Yeah.
I'd love if, like, see the people that say like rain, so I'm not doing anything today or whatever. I'd love see the same people who have had a takeaway every weekend for the last 10 years. See when it's raining, see the days when it's raining on a Saturday, you're not going to get a takeaway. Like if we start implementing that same logic, like all of a sudden things will start to work out pretty well for you. And again, it's not to say you can't have a takeaway, but your logic's fucked, mate. Like, did you get born with a kind of skin that's not waterproof? Because the rest of us all have it. Like, it's frazzles my brain. We were at the run club slash walk club on Sunday, and yes, I'm aware it wasn't the nicest of days. There was six of us there, and out of the six of us are like all six of us have achieved like really good results. And I said to the guys at the end, there's no coincidence that six of us that have turned up here today are also six who've all got something to show for it. Like it's easy to turn up to things when the sun's shining. It's easy to turn up to things when the weather's nice. It's really difficult to turn up to things when it's raining and shit's not going your way. Like, and that's again for anybody to listen. That's not a slight on like turning up consistently, because there are people who turn up to that more often than not. And if you weren't there at the run club on Sunday, I understand there's some people who just couldn't make it. But I'm just more making the point is there are people I've been PTing and they haven't turned up because it's raining. Like, but then on the flip side of that, I've had people whose dogs died on that day and like, no, I need to come. Like, I'm going, there's out of those two people, which one's getting results? Like, genuinely, and I'm not to say the person whose dogs died should have come. Like, if anything, I'm like, fuck, do you know what? They've got a valid excuse not to come. But the point is, they still turned up. And it's turning up when things get tough. But realistically, if you want to look the way that you want to look, you're going to have to get used to the fact that the hard part for you is getting yourself a waterproof jacket and fucking moving out there. Like, it's about making it a routine so that it's, for me, if I don't get steps in the morning, I genuinely feel off. Like, no matter, even if my goal's not fat loss, which to be fair, it's not fat loss a lot of the time. I'm like, but if I don't get my steps in the morning, I'm like, what's happening? Like, it's really out of routine for me. You need to get to a point where it just becomes habitual, where you do it and you can expand it to less time, more time, whatever. But if I'm not getting at least a 20-minute walk in, well, Rocky's going to piss everywhere for a start. But like at the same time, like, it just feels really off to me.
Yeah, and that's
I
because
have
you've
another top tip.
conditioned.
Continue, Gary.
I was going to say that's because you've conditioned your body and your mind to be used to that habit. I also had a tip that was regarding the movement side of things, Shannon. Is that what yours was on?
Yeah, you go first.
I was going to say if you really are struggling with a daily step target, have a weekly step target. You know, if people who are, if it is thunderstorming outside or whatever, and yeah, you really don't want to go outside, you can see it the way the way Kyle described calories and stuff as well. See it as like a weekly target instead of a daily target. Not always, but it helps you to average out at 8, 9, 10, however many steps you're aiming for per day. You can average out at that over the week. Now I don't recommend going out on a Saturday and getting 70,000 steps in and then not moving the rest of the week. But it just helps you if you're not quite hitting your step target on a daily basis to try and make up for it on other days when you do have a wee bit more spare time, because nobody works 7 days a week. You do have at least a couple of days off that you can get a wee bit more movement in.
Yes.
Shannon.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of take on from Kyle there regarding the run club on the Sunday, and obviously it was torrential rain, like, and the amount of people that text me, to be fair, saying fair play to Kyle, because Kyle actually ran 11K. We were actually going to send out a search warrant for him at one point. We weren't sure where he was at that point. The rest of us had made it back in one piece, but Kyle was nowhere to be seen. Turns out he went for a massive run. Um, but people already like, and people might be annoyed at me for saying it, but I don't care either. Like, yes, it was torrential rain. Yes, it was rotten to be outside. If you live in the local area of Dundalk, for instance, we have a giant shopping centre. You can physically bring yourself to said shopping centre and just walk around it. You do not need to get 10,000 steps in the shopping centre, but get in some form of movement. If you've rode off the day and only have 500 steps on the Sunday because it was raining, I am going to judge you a little bit because there is ways and means around these type of things, and I'm sorry. If
Judging.
I could do it, and I fucking hate walking in the rain, anyone can do it.
Yeah, I would. I actually, to further that point, like people often can't understand why some people can. Like, for instance, I used to eat a Domino's on a Thursday, and when I was getting in photo shoot condition, I'd still drink every weekend. And they're like, "How can you do that?" I'm like, "Because I'm willing, no matter what. I will get my steps in. I will look at making sure that the shit I need to get done more often than not. And that's not been perfect every week. There was plenty of missed gym
No.
sessions. There was plenty of days where I didn't quite hit my step target. But you know what? It wasn't for the lack of fucking trying. Like, I think out of the last 4 or 5 years, I think I've probably had 2 or 3 days. And bear in mind, we've had a lot going on. Like, we have lost a baby, we have Jen's dad's dying, we've got a lot of shit going on that, like, to be fair, I really could just be sitting at home doing the very bare minimum. Like, but with that said, I'm like, there's probably been 3 days out of 5 years where I went, I'm not doing this today. And sometimes you need that as a human being. Genuinely, you have permission to do that. But see if that's happened to you on a daily and weekly, there's more at play than that. Like, you need to have a serious
Mm-hmm.
word for yourself about. And I genuinely do believe this. It's a case of you either don't want it enough, you don't know how, or you don't. What was the other one? Don't want it enough, don't know how, or you haven't done it long enough. They're the three things, and it's only one of those three. You just need to decide which one of those three it is. And it's okay sometimes to go, you don't want it enough, and that's fine. But then accept where you are.
Again, another
You're
mic
very
drop. I
mean
think
today.
I think expanding on your last point as well, you haven't done it long enough really trips people up too. People want results yesterday, and if they don't see results quick enough, then that's another quote unquote excuse that gets used quite a lot. Well, I've been hitting my steps, I've been going to the gym, I've been eating good, but I've only lost 2 kilos in 2 weeks. Something which is fucking amazing. Like 2 kilos in 2 weeks is absolutely incredible. But that's not enough for people because people want to lose it faster. And now that we've got Manjaro on the scene, which people are losing fucking a stone a week on, obviously exaggerated there, but people are losing weight really, really fucking quickly on Manjaro. That I've had people considering giving up the gym and calorie counting to just go on Manjaro because it happens faster. So I think that obviously can play a massive role in it too.
I've pandered around this issue long enough. Sound, go and do that. Go in Manjaro. See you in 10 years. See what you're looking like. Skin Diana Bones.
I wouldn't even give them 10 years to be honest.
I think Manjaro is a short-term solution to get you out the red. Sure, we spoke to Jamie about that on a podcast before. You should, if you're interested in this point, go back and listen to Jamie Wright. I can't remember what episode it was, probably in the 40s or something. Spoke about it's there to get you out the red. It's not there as a solution to. And to be fair, I'm actually getting a lot of people that I'm now coaching that have tried Manjaro and are understanding the effects of why it's not working and how it's not working.
Yep.
And yeah, fine if you're ready to hemorrhage a lot of muscle mass and you're ready to fuck up a lot more. I'll be slightly political on this and not go too deep into it, but I think yeah, you go and do what you're going to do, but like there is a cost to that as well. There's no free dinners.
100%. And I think as the years go on, maybe even next year at some point, we will have some form of research and some body of paper telling us potential side effects and potential long-lasting health effects off the back of it as well, because that's something that we are unsure of in the moment. But we'll see. We'll see what transpires next year.
I'm very aware that I particularly am speaking about this from a very privileged position in the sense that I haven't ever been extremely morbidly obese, and my relationship with food hasn't massively been skewed or anything like that. However, I do think the majority of people I speak to in Manjaro, there are a few exceptions, but the majority of people that I've spoke to who go on Manjaro, you ask them the same conversation. Have you tracked your calories? No, I tried. I've done it for a few days. It's too hard. Like, sit down. Same thing goes. Sit down. You don't get the same excuse as someone who's genuinely, like, if you're 200 kilos and can't get out of bed, absolutely fucking, well, firstly, I'd love to say, you know what, try counting your calories, but I think actually your relationship with food to get you to 200 kilos in the first place is fucked. So yeah, get Manjaro to get you to the point where you can actually see it's possible to get progress and you're not a risk to yourself health-wise. After that, you really do. It comes down to the same things. There's the reason for years and 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 years. Calories are key. Like, I don't enjoy saying that. If you told me fucking 7 years ago that calories were key, I'd tell you to fuck off. Like, but right now, it's clear. It's the only way that you're going to actually be able to move. If you're talking fat loss, weight loss, body composition, it's the most effective way of doing it.
Do you think food noise? Do you think you can get rid of food noise without the use of a GLP-1?
I think this is where deeper coaching comes in. So I think where a lot of people view coaching, and this is where I disagree with people, they expect coaching to be, sure, it's just like even me saying it, it's just calories. Yep. Like, yes, it's just calories, but calories aren't just calories. Calories is an emotional attachment to every part of food. We live experiences through food. Gary, sure, you've spoke about it in your journey in terms of your relationship growing up with food and how your mum presented food to you and what that means to you. I'm even conscious having Finn right now. I'm like, he bumped his head last night and straight away we're like, oh, we'll give him something sweet to take his meal. I'm like, these things when we are stressed, overwhelmed, not great, these are things we've learned for years and years and years as coping mechanisms. And that element of dopamine is what helps us. So it's not a case, we take food away in terms of, like, if you take that away from someone who's years into the woods of doing that, the problem is that then presents more issues, and it's more issues they have to deal with. Where coaching comes in is what we help them deal with and the solutions around that. If someone is willing to do it, and this is the big thing as well, someone might want to get in shape, but they're not willing to deal with the issues that come up and arise from when you start talking about food, and sometimes you might not know until it starts to happen. That at that point, that's where there is a slight issue in terms of food noise. My own experience, I had a poor relationship with alcohol for 3-4 years. I'm like, if someone told me at the time I had to reduce my alcohol intake or whatever, like, I'd justify it. I'd be like, sure, I'm in shape, it's fine, no issues. Like, but at the same time, I wasn't ready to deal with all of the shit underneath the surface in terms of my working patterns, my relationship with myself, the feeling I've never been able to do enough. I had to get to a point where I was ready to deal with all that. And now my relationship with alcohol is completely different to what it was before. But I had to, and I worked with coaches to get myself through that. And I think that's the most important thing. You need to be ready to deal with a lot of the stuff in full transparency. Most coaches don't have the tools to be able to help people, and most people aren't ready to deal with it. But to answer the question, can it be dealt with? Yes, but it needs two parties to be able to meet up.
But the question was, do you think you can get rid of it specifically without the use of a GLP-1? It was the answer was top notch. Like, I absolutely loved the answer. But do you think you can get completely rid of food noise without the use of a GLP-1?
It's hard to know. Like, I can only relate that to my own experiences because I don't have a lot of food noise in my head most of the time. Like, I do, like, Jen's diabetic, and since she's been diabetic over the last 3 or 4 years, there's foods on the table and stuff. Like, sweeties, not candy, on the table.
I was waiting for it.
I'm far more likely, honestly, to just pick it and mindlessly eat it now that it's there.
Mhm.
And sometimes I'm like, oh, that'd be really nice. But I've never see when certain people like the only way I can talk about food noise, because I have worked with a lot of people who have food noise, I don't have the version that they have in their head. So I can't really give an answer on it. The only way I can describe it is my relationship with alcohol is the only thing I could ever relate to in terms of feeling like that. The way I would probably present it is what I used to think about alcohol is that's really going to help me and I need this right now to be able to deal with what's going on and I can't stop. If I decided on a day, and even if I hadn't, I'd wake up on a Sunday and be like, I'm not going to drink today, and 2 hours later I was buying 4 cans and watching the football. Like, I've managed to get to the point where I'm like, I still like the idea of it, but I don't. The noise is down. It's like it's a background thing where I can ignore it. I can't. I can't say it's not there. It is like Sundays. I'm like, oh, somebody's playing today at 12 o'clock. Be nice to go and get a few cans, but actually, do you know what? I don't find myself going to the shop to go and get some cans.
Mhm.
And that's because I've worked on that relationship. Do I think will that ever go? I don't know. I really don't know. For me, that's my own experience of it. So I don't know. What's your opinion on it?
My opinion is no, you can't get rid of it without the use of a GLP-1. But you can learn how to manage it and cope with it better, which is basically what you've just explained with your relationship with alcohol. I can absolutely 100% use myself as an example here because my relationship with food is shocking. Food noise, literally, after I eat breakfast, I'm thinking about lunch. I'm thinking about what snack I can have, what snack I can fit in my car. I'm constantly thinking about food. But I've learned more coping mechanisms. I've learned better ways to deal with it. I've learned how to I've basically accepted it for what it is. That's always going to be, like you said, it's always going to be that wee noise in the back of my mind. I can ignore it for a short period of time, but it's always there, niggling. I probably won't ever get rid of that. Again, it's my opinion that without the use of a GLP-1, you probably won't ever get rid of it. Um, I've spoke to people in the gym that are using Manjaro and stuff like that, and food noise is gone. They do not think about food at all. This is not me obviously advocating the use of a GLP-1. I'm just saying like if you're not willing to accept it for what it is, if you're not willing to put the coping mechanisms in place, if you're not willing to live with it and work with it instead of trying to fight against it, then you're probably going to be stuck in that loop that we were talking about at the start of the podcast. You know, for a short period of time, you're going to be quote unquote on it, and then for the rest of the year, you're going to be letting your the food noise, your feelings, your emotions completely control how you live your life, whether that be from a food standpoint, a movement standpoint, an exercise standpoint, how you view yourself in the mirror standpoint. You do have to accept your feelings, emotions for what they are and learn how to deal with them and live with them. As I say, work with them, work with your mind, work with your body, instead of constantly trying to fight against it and feel like you're just in a fucking uphill battle all the time.
I've learned from that conversation that I'm going to have to do some more research on Manjaro because the mechanisms in terms of what it does, from what I believe, is it just slows down food in your system.
Mhm.
I don't think it changes anything in your brainwaves to be able to change your relationship with food. So I'm interested in the fact that I'm like, if it stops food noise, is it just because the feeling of hunger isn't as high? Or actually, on the flip side of things, when I speak to people I coach on Manjaro, it's just actually the feeling of, don't want to say sickness, but like they're actually to the point where like food's not going to do the same thing for me as I was hoping, and they're looking for that constant, like,
Mhm.
I don't imagine Manjaro gives you much more dopamine either, so I'd be interested to see what mechanism that's actually stopping. Because on the flip side of that, I know people who Manjaro's not worked for. They've went on it and actually they're like, no, they're still not actually losing weight on it, and they were going to give it a period of time. So even with the slowdown of food, they're still forcing stuff into them. So I think that probably uncovers a little bit as to what someone's relationship with food actually is. Is it coming from hunger? Is it coming from emotion? Like a lot of the time, like let's be fair, we're in a world where calories exist that didn't exist before. You've got fucking meals that you can easily go 1,500 calories a meal and nobody wants to believe it. If you get
Me.
yeah, no, literally. But I mean, I've got. I'm not naming names. I have coached people who are like, I eat a takeaway every night, and like, you get to the point where the first part of coaching is, okay, how can we make the version of takeaway that they're having better? And then they start to see a bit of results from that, and then they start to get belief, and then from that, the relationship with food slightly changes, and they start making better decisions. From there, you can then reduce the frequency of that. From there, you can start to eventually get to the point where, because when they're having a takeaway every night, they're not enjoying it, they're just doing it out of convenience a lot of the time. You get to the point where you strip back the layers. But often the conversations that I come up on that type of conversation is, oh, that doesn't taste as good as a takeaway. I'm like, well, fucking nothing's going to taste as good as a takeaway. Like, realistically, if I was drinking 7 nights a week, nothing's going to have the same feeling and taste as good as drinking beer. But realistically, you don't want to be in the position you're in. So something needs to change. I'm conscious I'm now going down a rabbit hole and a rant of something else right now. So let's wind it back in again. Movement does massively help, I think, was the point where we're
I think that's where we were at one point.
That was a proper like Billy Connolly moment there where we went away half an hour on another story and then brought it right back to the point where you left off.
Yeah.
The caffeine really is going through your veins today, lads.
Maybe the caffeine's not going through yours. You should maybe get yourself a wee can of Monster, Shan.
I'm more of a coffee gal. I'm going to have a coffee now shortly, but yeah, I don't buy cans of Monster. Randomly might take an ocean. Never finish them.
Maybe that's
If they made a babier size of it, I would be down for it.
Get
Like
yourself
a 200.
a wee can of Norco, there you go.
But see, I don't know what they taste like, so I'm like, I don't want to waste money on something and then be like, oh, that's rotten. I'm a
Shan,
funny one like that. It's why I've never tried matcha because I don't want to commit to trying something that might taste like absolute shit and cost me a fiver.
Shannon, it's a deeper rooted issue there. That's like somebody going, oh, I don't want to spend money in the cinema in case the movie's terrible. Like, fucking go and live a wee bit now.
We're working on those deeper rooted issues in therapy, sir. All right, we're aware of them.
Obviously,
We know they exist.
obviously not fucking hard enough. Sort it out.
There's a lot of issues to be worked on. All right, we're taking it 1 week at a time.
Yeah. I think maybe you should start working on the issue with how you find it difficult to heat the inside of your fucking house next.
Living crisis, sir. All right, living crisis. Some of us were living on the poorer side. I can relate to the people. Use with your fucking central heating. Fuck off. Some
I
of
don't
us were going to
think
bed with a snuggie and a hot water bottle last Christmas. All right.
I don't think Kyle's paying you enough, Shannon.
No,
Oh,
especially the fact that the newspaper said I was a co-founder. Co-founder. Where's that fucking pay rise, sir?
you done.
Yeah, we're done. Back to the point.
Yeah.
Movement.
Yeah, or we get HR involved here, right?
Jen!
The only other point that I wanted to bring up, and I don't know where this fits in and amongst things, is I think portion control is big. Like, to summarise, it is mostly going to be nutrition. I think it's a great time to go to the gym as well because the gyms are actually going to be a lot quieter because unlike you and this person that you're now going to be, a lot of people have already packed in their ideas and goals for 2025. So if you go to the gym right now, a lot of them are cheaper to go to because they actually don't have joining fees and they reduce prices at this time of year and you'll get a good deal, especially if you're paying a wee bit up front as well. So look into going to the gym. But 80% of it's going to come to nutrition. Portion things, allow yourself, if you look at your calories, the positives of looking at your calories are you can see how much of it you can actually get away with in terms of eating foods guilt-free. And I think this is where your relationship with food might change because if you realise that you've got 300 calories each day that you can use in whatever you want, then theoretically that donut in the middle of the day, you can have it. Like, I think for that as portion control, I would say it's not going to be too long before, like, again, with Halloween and with, like, the tins of roses that are now no longer tins, but, like, you can get, they'll start to come out a lot more. Portion control, like, I would get, I know this sounds pretty sad, but it works, a sandwich bag and portion out 200 to 250 calories worth of, like, sweets, whatever it is, Put them in 5 days a week, 5 portion control bags. Allow yourself that. Like when you're having a cup of tea in the evening, eat the fucking 250 calories worth of whatever it is. You'll feel significantly better. And when you actually realise you can lose weight doing it, job's a good one. You don't feel like you're missing out. You don't feel like you're not having a single bit of chocolate until Christmas and then all of a sudden you're binging for 2.5 weeks. Like you can build up a relationship with food whilst also like getting in shape.
You can also use Halloween to your advantage here because right now you'll be able to buy the big, massive bags of things like Maltesers and stuff like that, but it's just like the fun size bags that's inside them.
Yeah.
So instead of buying a share bag for yourself, buy the big Halloween pack and then only have, one of the small packs with your cup of tea as well. So that you could use that to your advantage. If you're anything like me though, you can't have anything in the house biscuit wise because you just fucking can't stop.
Well, I would hide things from eye level. Genuinely
Yep.
make a big difference. If you have things that are if you put any sort of barrier in the way of something, it becomes harder from a mental perspective to get it. If something's just lying there on the table, um, I had a client in the past who, great client, worked really hard in the gym, invited me and Jen to their house at one point, and like they lost weight, but like they were not losing weight at the rate and they wanted to, and they also said that like they were struggling with like eating sweet stuff. Went to their house and literally their house looked like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Like I know they've got kids, but I mean like literally things lying about everywhere. And like again, sure, at that point I'm not there to judge, but it's just more so from a point of view of how are you making this easy for yourself? It's just like fucking literally it's everywhere. You can't turn without seeing it in front of you. No wonder you're not making this easy for yourself. It's going to be really difficult to say no to it. Like you're in trouble. Like
Yeah, 100%. And I find that's kind of, I can relate. Like if I see, I've not even been thinking about food, I'm not hungry. I open the cupboard and I see the biscuit tub.
yep.
Fuck. I will not stop thinking about that until I satisfy my voice in the back of my head by going and having a biscuit. Do you know what I mean? And then once I have one, I've got the taste for it. And I'm probably going to have another two or three biscuits if I'm being perfectly honest. So we just don't have biscuits in the house. Rachel likes to tell everybody that it's my fault we don't have biscuits in the house when I have visitors and we make them a cup of tea and we can't offer them a wee tea cake.
They'll need to try a tea cake.
Is that because you're not sure if you'd like it or not, Shannon? Is it too expensive
That's
for you?
it. I
I
can't commit
know.
to things I don't know if I like.
I think I'll need to bring you one over, Shannon, so you're not wasting money. £1 on six
Yeah,
tea cakes.
that would be good. Because I'm living in the living crisis here because Kyle hasn't given me the co-founder fucking pay rise.
Shannon, after this, we're going to look at your expense sheet and we'll look at all the shit you do spend money on and we'll see where tea cakes fit in. But until such times, sit down. Um,
Jesus. Rude.
Should we summarize our tips for everybody listening if they made it this far? Because that was a mental episode. Unless you've got anything else that you want to add.
and that took more details than Frodo's journey to Mordor.
It fucking did. It
If you
fucking
had a
did.
walking pad, you can actually do that on the TV. There's like little things that you can watch now to walk to, like through Hogwarts and Mordor and all that stuff. So get yourself a walking pad, keep moving.
That's it. Yeah. Movement, nutrition is 80% of the game. Um, Track your fucking
Decent coach.
calories. Decent coach, yeah. Decent coach won't track your calories for you, but they will hold you accountable in tracking your own fucking calories. Tracking food is a skill, something that we've covered many, many times before in this podcast. It is going to be a wee bit frustrating at first. It is going to take a bit of getting used to, but it's going to educate you and give you a lot more knowledge in and around how many calories are in certain types of foods. When you are tracking your food as well, please do not use the American way of tracking tablespoons and cups. Please use milliliters and grams. It is a lot more accurate. Your tablespoon of peanut butter is going to look vastly different to my tablespoon of peanut butter. But the calories can be huge. So milliliters, grams when you're tracking your food. If you're finding MyFitnessPal very, very difficult, we ran an experiment on ChatGPT. Listen to last week's podcast episode if you haven't already, and you'll hear the results and the findings of said research. Anything else you want to throw in?
I think you said movement, but I think just building the habit of movement, whilst a walking pad is actually, like, in terms of cost effectiveness, is far cheaper than getting a treadmill. I think you can get them for like 150, 200 quid, and they're a game changer. If that's too much, then I'd also look at like a Reebok step, which is literally like fucking 15 or 20 quid. Being completely transparent, if you're not in a position where you want to spend 15 or 20 quid, then like fucking just give up, mate. Like, that's
By the way, just that you've said a Reebok step, that's a fucking smashing idea because you can go onto YouTube and there's actually like coaches that do step workouts. Yeah,
That get
they're
you
not,
like 6,000 steps or whatever
yeah,
it is. Yeah, I've seen a
like
few of them myself.
they're not going to sculpt your body, they're not going to tone your arms, they're not going to tone your legs, but they will get your steps in. They will burn some fucking calories, they will get your heart rate up. Banging. If you cannot make it outside, you have no excuse. Put YouTube on the telly, do a step workout, half an hour, bang. Excellent. Job's a good one.
You could do reformer Pilates because that seems to be the thing that solves everybody's issues
Oh,
these
mate.
days.
Oh, I'm getting because we've got a Pilates and bar studio upstairs in the gym. So I talked to some of the instructors, lovely people, obviously good at what they do. But when I see them on social media going sculpt your triceps with the tiniest little resistance band, I just want to fucking say to them, stop lying to people.
You do
Stop
like
lying to people.
that. Is
I
that not?
had,
Is that not?
sorry.
That not helping their 7 minute metabolic rate in the morning?
Oh, it could potentially be, yes. Not like not being told to track calories or anything like that at all. But I had one girl in my one of my strength classes, and she does the Pilates and stuff as well. And I said to her about like Pilates isn't going to build your muscle. It's not going to tone your arms. It's not going to tone your legs. And she said to me, but surely it has some impact because I can feel it. So you can feel the burn, whatever. But again, this is a topic for another day. We can talk about this next week. Let's
Oh,
wrap
that'd be
this
a
one
good
up.
topic for next week.
Yeah, fuck Pilates next week. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Let's get into it next week. Anything else that you want to say before we wrap this one up?
I think I'm all due. I think that was a really good podcast. If people made it this far, then well done. And clearly, you do generally want to make change. Otherwise, you wouldn't have listened to Kyle constantly telling you to sit down. With that movement, you would actually be getting some steps, I'd say.
You can find us at Shannon underscore biofitness, Gary underscore biofitness, and Kyle underscore biofitness. We'd like to thank Dave and Toby for the music. You can join us on next week's episode where we're going to be talking about Pilates and resistance bands and how it's a bunch of woke nonsense. But thank you and goodbye.
Bye.